This podcast is brought to you by UPS. Now one of the world's largest package delivery companies, UPS started out as a small business too, so they have the expertise and experience to make international shipping easy for your business. Find out more at www.ups.com/SMB.
Hello and welcome to Small Business Snippets, the podcast from smallbusiness.co.uk. I'm your host, Anna Jordan. Today we have Carina Lepore, entrepreneur and the latest winner of the Apprentice back in 2019. She's considered the most successful candidate of all time, winning 9 out of 10 challenges and never appearing in the bottom 2. Before she went on the show, Carina joined her dad to start a coffee shop business after his previous bakery burned down. Now, Dough Artisan Bakehouse has 2 branches in London and has plans to take on Greggs. We'll be talking about the law of attraction and starting a business in an unfamiliar field. Hi Carina, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. Doing well. Enjoying this lovely heat wave after the thunderstorms yesterday.
I got caught in that. I was like,
Me
I never
too.
rain, I never walk anywhere. And I was like, oh, it's awful.
Oh, I know. And you think, oh, it's just going to be sun shower, and then it just
What was that?
doesn't stop. I know.
It was awful.
Okay, so the first thing I want to ask you is a bit about before you joined your dad's bakery business. So you had your first business when you were 18. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yes. So I left school, left sixth form, and then decided I had been working throughout at a small high street shop, I suppose. And I was really just sort of interested in the ways he ran the business. So I would start to sort of, at a very young age, 14, 15, I'd start to, ask the right questions, just try and get involved with merchandising and his sort of little takings book and where he would get his stock from, and just started to want to know more about the ways the business worked, really. So because I had that sort of keen interest and drive at such a young age, I then left. We've been talking about all day today because it's obviously A-level result day, and we've been talking, and the main thing I just keep thinking and saying is, when you get them results, you just think, oh my God, it's the be all or end all, is my life, is this making or breaking my life? And I remember that as well. And I remember I didn't get great grades, no, but I still had that entrepreneurial drive. So I was going to do something with that. So that was more my route. So I then went and opened up a shop and did a shop, car boots, and a market, Wimbledon market. That was like what I would do. So I would buy my stock, like what Lord Sugar says, and now I can sort of say it to him, smell what sells, and I would pick, top sellers and just bung them in all my shops or wherever I had. And that was me, really. It was bold, it was brave, it was different. But just something I wanted to do. So I was just really excited by it, and really enjoyed it.
Great stuff. So what was your first business then? Was that, because I believe you had a fashion store?
Yeah, it was a shop called Faze, F-A-Z-E. And it was, it was a phase actually, because it was didn't last too long. It was more of I wanted to do it, this is what I was going to do. It was sort of what you would call now, I suppose, clothes that you see on Pretty Little Thing and Boohoo, just sort of, fashion clothes for young people. I also started to sell, so there was a craze, this is what I mean, trends, spotting trends is so key for any business person. And I started to notice people would like, I don't know if you know, you're going to be like, what a weirdo. People used to wear like designer teeth, like gold teeth. And
I remember, yeah.
The American fashion started to come in. So I was like, I'm going to source grills and sell them. And at the time I was so excited. I had like this famous rapper come in. I was like, oh my God, I'm like this. But that's what it's saying now. So 16 years on, it's the same sort of thing. You smell what sells, you spot a trend, you get a few influencers to put your stuff up. And that's how sort of the world is working. So if you think you've got a great idea, and I keep touching on it, and it's my thing today, is I've really learned a lot about different routes coming out of school for A-level students, really. I've learned loads about the qualification that AAT offer. So it's an accountancy firm, and they offer this sort of apprenticeship in accountancy, which if I had, so imagine that, I just keep thinking about it now, imagine if I'd had that running alongside me sort of working and, you know, whatever it be, whether I was at M&S or Vibe at the time, but I would have had that in the bag as well. So it would have just made me feel even more confident, because I would have actually known a bit about real numbers back then, you know. So, and knowing your numbers in business is just so key, so crucial. I've learned loads from Lord Sugar. He could just whip numbers up like this, whereas, you know, someone like me, it takes a lot more. But if I'd had, for example, that qualification with AAT, it would have been, I'll be on his level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess you've been learning as you're going along, and your dad will have had his own experience and his own business savvy. So when you decided to pair up to start the bakehouse, how did you sort of weave your vision with his and potentially his business partner as well? I mean, what kind of challenges did you have there, especially as a family member, somebody who's quite fragile at the time, I would have thought?
Yeah, it was, it's been like a roller coaster, and this is, I'm even talking pre-pandemic, that's a whole different roller coaster. So I think he just sort of allowed me to run with everything, every element I just would run with. And I don't know whether he just found this new sort of confidence in me as a sort of woman, maybe as a grown-up woman. When I was 18, he was telling me, oh, what a silly mistake, you know, go and get a job. Whereas now I was taking an even bigger risk. I was leaving a secure job at M&S with a good salary to then risk us taking barely any take-ins, you know, just to do something risky, but also as a passion of his and mine. And that's what I really wanted to, I saw it as an opportunity. He was going through such a dark time, and I've never seen him go for anything like that in my life. So I did take it as an opportunity for me to sort of help him for once in our lives and give him back. And it's worked really well, because his sort of, he's got this creative flair. I mean, he can't talk, he can't relay any, you know, if he was here now, oh, bless him. But he's got this creative flair, and anything to do with products and recipes, and his sort of personality just comes out in all his products, and it's so fun, and that's what customers love. But yeah, the business side definitely needed to take a different, sort of more of a structured route. And that's where I think I've helped him.
Such a huge part of that route has been appearing on The Apprentice. And I understand that you watched the previous series before you went on. What were you hoping? What were you kind of? Oh, some of them. Sorry. What? Were
all of them. Yeah.
So what were you looking for, and what did it teach you before you went on?
Oh my God, that show. It is like that and MasterChef, but I can't really, you know, I'm not a chef. So it was going to be one of them. And I just loved The Apprentice, everything about it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the challenges, the teamness, the Lord Sugar, the scary element, the sort of adrenaline rush. I don't know. But watching it, I used to always think, you know, one of them shows where you think, oh, I could have done that, or I would have made that. And it's the sort of making the ideas. I just love everything about the show. So when I applied, I didn't really know I was going to, or I just did it one night on my phone, and then suddenly got through, and then just kept getting through the application process. And I thought, right, this is for me. This is meant to be. That's when I suddenly switched into, now I need to win this show, because this is what I want Lord Sugar to be my business partner. You know, this is for me. That's what I kept thinking. This is meant to be. It's written. Yeah. That's all I kept thinking. And then actually getting on there, getting the call that they want you in the house, it's just so surreal. Yeah. But the best feeling, what an experience. I loved everything about it.
Just out of interest, how many steps of the process, the application process, are there?
It's as tough as the show. So they sort of set you up from day one when you turn up. There's obviously London, Manchester, and one other place somewhere. That's the sort of, so there's 3 application spots, I suppose. And the London one was full up. I'm talking, so it was over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I went on the Sunday, I remember. I turned up and there was like suits everywhere. It was like full of like Wolf on Wall Street type people. That's what I call them. It was like everyone was boardroom ready with their briefcases, and there was a couple of me's, you know, like more down to earthy people, but we was the minority 100%. And I immediately thought, oh my God, I just rocked up. And then what they do is you sort of, it's very tough, and you learn straight away from that first task. They give you a number. I can't remember what I was. I think I was 7. And then you stand up in groups of 10 or 20 or whatever, and you stand up on the line and you have to talk for 30 seconds. Just talk. And they call your number 7, talk. And it's like from the get-go, about anything. And some people tried to be funny. Some people would go with the whole, this is what I do. And then it was a bit X Factor style. They'd call your number. Half of you would go one way, half the other. And that's how the process was. You kept moving up levels. And the more I started to move up, I was like, oh, I must be doing something right. Because I'm not going down the lifts, I'm going up. So you keep going up. And then I remember sneaking off. It got to 10 p.m. And it's exactly how the show is. You know, the days are long. It's so vigorous, and they want to literally hone out the best people for this show that they keep you there. And I remember ringing my sister like, it's a school night. You're going to have to put my like Lucas to bed because I'm still here. I didn't know what was happening. They could have kept me the whole night. But yeah, and then you get to, then the next set is like practice tasks, and it's just so hard. It's the most challenging. I had to write a manifesto. I didn't know what that was. I was like, what is this? Yeah, very challenging application process. But they obviously just want the best candidates, and that's why they make it so hard, because they need to set you up for how hard the show actually is. And
of course, yeah,
it's so hard. Like, it's not for the weak. It's so tough.
Yeah, it's a tough 12 weeks.
Today's opportunities for your business are borderless. As a global shipping provider, UPS is here to help your business capitalise on growing local and international markets and reach new customers across its global network. Find out more at www.ups.com/SMB.
So I've read that you're a big believer in the law of attraction, and that played a part in you applying for the Apprentice in the first place. First of all, could you give us a bit of an explanation as to what the law of attraction is?
Yeah, so I'm a massive believer, and I started, when did I suddenly just have something click in? I can't remember the date, but I remember doing my vision board, and the vision boards obviously plays a massive part. If you need any books, definitely start with The Secret. It just gives you everything you need if you want to sort of change your mindset, I think. And I used to struggle with anxiety and massively. I still do, but this has helped me find, you know, that try to breathe and think that everything is written and everything happens for a reason, and that it's about manifesting what you want and believing in what you want and achieving and getting your results, really. So loads of things I used to see, and I remember this one example. I think I told this morning, or I was on something with Ruth and Eamon. I remember saying I sat in my shop. August is always quiet. We're going through the same thing now. So I remember it was an August month, and it must have been 2018, 2017, just before I applied for the show, 2018. And I sat there and I saw the AMS1 Lord Sugar's car drive past. It's obviously a cut through to London. And it was that car. It was like an entourage of 3 cars. I was like, oh, it's Lord Sugar. Because I knew the car from the show. And I was like, it's a sign. I immediately saw it as a sign. And this is meant to be my business partner. So that was August. I then applied for the show in January, got on. So it all happens quite quick if you believe, and if you really think that was I remember it, that was a sign. I'm now going to either meet Lord Sugar, or I had Karen Brady on my vision board. Again, pre-Apprentice, she was up there, just as I didn't know quite. And this is the thing with law of attraction. You can put it out there, but you don't know where it's going to come in, and you can't force it, and it might just happen. And then it just happens. Like, everything I have on that board was ticked off. It's crazy. And I talked to my friends about it who are big believers. One of them is he's a big sort of artist, and he's really known in sort of his world of music, and he is just so successful with it. He has his vision board, he shows people what he puts on. He then ticks it off a year later. It could take a year, months, I don't know. But you'll slowly start to think that I'm actually getting everything I want out of life. And that's what's so important. And I could talk about it all day. I get so passionate about it, and I'm finding other people that really understand it and believe in that way of life. You can just talk all day.
I appreciate that a lot of it is based in like positive psychology, so things like visualizations, gratitude, that kind of thing. But what would you say to people who are maybe more skeptical and go down the sort of it's a bit victim blaming in some ways, like maybe there's a sense that if somebody in a business example, say, is struggling with their business, they're maybe not manifesting in the right way, or that perhaps it devalues the work that the individual does and says it's more like the universe rather than the actions that the individual has put towards achieving their goals. What kind of things would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I have a lot in my life, again, who do think, who ask, think differently to me, which is fine. But ultimately, you get what you get the results that you are willing to put in, and it does take. I'm not saying you're going to go and. This is the thing. This is what the books teach you: is that I might want a mansion. I haven't got a mansion yet, but as long as I keep believing that I'm going to have a mansion, then maybe, hopefully, one day it will. You just put it out there. You just give it away, and then stop thinking about it. But with regards to running a successful business, if my mindset was like, that's it. I had what a bad month, or look at take-ins for that month, or we've hit a pandemic, we can't trade anymore. If you just say that to yourself all day, you're going to eventually get into a lull where you're just negativity is just eating you up, and you won't be able to see a way out. So anytime I'm having a bad week, of course I'm gonna you have to then really think about your thoughts, because they play such a big part, but it's very easy to get wrapped up in that negative thoughts. And I even still struggle with it, because for example, last month was a tough month, and I remember thinking, but then I've put a plan in place. That's all. You've just got to spin it back to, we're going to go again, team. Come on, let's go again. Let's strive even more. So I have a bad day, and then I'm suddenly back with a notepad and loads of notes, and we go again and we push harder. But getting into a lull is hard. You've just got to find something that can find a way that can get you out, whether it's taking yourself away for a bit. Self-love, self-care is so important. Again, something I struggle with. I really have to force myself to switch off, but you have to, because otherwise you'll be eaten up with all the bad thoughts, and you just have to think, right, let's go again, know.
Yeah, absolutely. So with anxiety and having to keep your mental health and your thoughts and your mindset in check, in the last meeting that you had with Scarlett and Lord Sugar, she said that you weren't an established business and you were a newbie and you didn't really know a lot about the industry. How did that make you feel at the time, and how did you cope in such a high pressure situation?
Yeah, you do want to sort of just react instantly when there's like something said about your business or yourself or your character, anything like that. You're gonna it heightens, especially the tension in the room. It's already really as high as it can be. I can't remember my answer. You might have it, but I'm sure I was just more of the guidance, and I'm sure I would just talk to Lord Sugar and say, well, I do know my business, and I can tell you what I know about my business, and I would then just relay everything I knew about. But I didn't understand her business. I would sit there. I think Claude even said to me once, like, you can take a nap now, because I just was like, I didn't understand. So maybe she didn't understand what I was trying to relay, and that I didn't know my business. But yeah, even if you're a newbie and a startup, like I've been touching upon, if you can get a great qualification, and if you can understand the importance of spot trends, then go with your gut and run with it. Take risks, definitely, as a young business person.
Actually, that is exactly what I was just about to ask, because we do sometimes come across entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs who are wanting to go into a field that they're not so familiar with. So as someone who has been there, what kind of advice would you have for them?
I didn't know, and I still get digged up on about I'm the baker who doesn't bake. That was the whole sort of tagline I ended up getting from the show. But I didn't sort of let it deter me or let it put me off. And in them interviews that we do with Claude and the scary interviewers, it was so scary. And they would just pick me up on the fact that, how can you know your business if you don't know your business, sort of thing. And I was like, well, my argument was, you can be a club owner, you can be a restaurateur, a hotelier. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be the chef of the restaurant or the bar man and I'm going to know every cocktail, every recipe. But it's more about your leadership skills, I think, and your passion for that business and that drive. I love everything about the bakery. I love bread. I love seeing them make it. Doesn't mean I'm suddenly going to muck in and make it, but I love the process. I love everything about it. And that's where my passion sort of shines through. Customer care, the customer service piece, I try to relay that in the show, that is actually more important, knowing your customers and knowing what they want, rather than me actually knowing how to knead a loaf, like, come on, you employ people to do certain skills. You don't have to have everything. That was my argument for the show. So any young people out there who just have a passion for something, obviously learn about it and know your business, because that is very important, but you don't actually have to be the chef or whatever, for example.
Yeah. And looping right back to the start, for people who have got their A levels today, and they maybe didn't get the grades that they expected, they maybe want to go down the entrepreneurial route. What would you say?
Do it. Yeah, I would say my top tips would be, so I've learned a lot myself about the qualification that AAT are offering. So I'm just going to throw out the link, so anyone that can, just because they might just all be thinking, what is this she's talking about? Basically, it's an accountancy firm, and it's an accountancy apprenticeship. So, sorry, I didn't want that to annoy. Right. So the link for that is aat.org.uk/123. And the 1, 2, 3 sort of steers on the fact that knowing your numbers is just so key. So if you didn't get the grade you want, and you know in your heart uni isn't for you, then definitely explore other routes. Explore this route from AAT, see if it's for you. If you've got ideas about business, just make sure you've got a notepad, keep everything jotted down. This is what I want to do. Keep learning, keep networking, get all the knowledge you need, reach out to people. Some people will get back to you and give you your sort of tips and advice in the field you want to go into. So yeah, that's my sort of key points.
Great. Well, I mean, that seems like a very good place to end. So thank you for coming on the podcast, Carina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Of course. You can find out more about Dough Artisan Bakehouse at doughbakehouse.co.uk. You can also visit smallbusiness.co.uk for more articles on starting your own business. Remember to like us on Facebook at Small Business Experts, follow us on Twitter at Small Business UK, all lowercase, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, linked in the description. Until next time, thank you for listening.